Ukraine and Russia may be a step closer to ending their war after 2 days of talks with the U.S. in Abu Dhabi. Our senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palkot is live in London with this meeting's developments. Hello, Greg.
Hi, Sandra. That's right. Some positive signs on the diplomatic front regarding the war in Ukraine as the fighting goes on. This past weekend saw more Russian attacks on Kyiv and across the country. Energy infrastructure targeted. Thousands left without heat and electricity. Cold winter days and nights. But coming out of those three-way talks involving the U.S., Ukraine, and Russia, Ukrainian President Zelensky claims he has a commitment from the U.S. of protection from Russia if the fighting were to stop and Russia were to strike again. Beyond describing the negotiations as constructive, even historic, the White House isn't giving too much more detail, but Russia saying serious work remains ahead. In fact, Russian President Putin has been firm about no NATO troops in a post-war Ukraine, something Kyiv wants, along with a handover of territory in eastern Ukraine that Russia hasn't conquered, something that Kyiv doesn't want. Sandra, more talks are planned for next weekend. A lot of people, especially those cold people in Ukraine, are hoping for the best. Back to you.
Okay, of course, Greg Palkot live there in London on that for us. Thank you, Greg. John?
All right, Shalom. This is the brother Kaya from GMS New Orleans coming at you with another Ride and Talk. Prior to getting started, as I always do, I'd like to give infinite honors and prayers to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rekah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to the Akams that's pushing the truth and sincerity. Lord willing, this video will be edifying first and foremost to the whole elect, then to those that cleave to the body. And I'll just, kind of get into, on the heels of peace talk. All right, you have this happen. Russian killed 12 Iranian miners in deadly bus attack hours after peace talks postponed. And then the thing is, all right, it ain't gonna be no peace. Okay, there will be no peace. We are not in the times of peace, and it ain't gonna be no settling anything. All right, this proxy war is gonna lead to the ultimate war. You always got proxy wars, trade wars. All right. Prior to the ultimate war, you see, it got to be a disruption in communication. It's got to be a disruption in trust, right? In order for these things to happen, so that has already been implemented, through the ways of lying, right? Because this devil a liar. He won't come to the table and talk peace when he ready. After he done did everything he want to do, then he want to come to the table in the middle of the war and say, let's chill out with this, man. That's just not the way things work, man. You can't, you can't position yourself in other people's nations and, as they have heaped to themselves nations and, enlarged their borders. And it's just irate, man. But guess what? This season gonna get worse. All right, this Ecclesiastes 3:1, it says, to everything there's a season and a time, to every purpose under the heaven. A time, let me get to the point. 3 is a time to kill and a time to heal. We're in a time to kill, a time to break down and a time to build up. We breaking down things, all right? Okay. Yeah, verse 8 is the point. A time of love and a time of hate. We're in a time of hate. All right. The love for many has waxed cold. Whether they be the same nation of people or whether they be different nations. All right. Those Russian and Ukrainians, quote unquote, are the same people. But this war been looming for years. Right? It's just easy to just go and talk. Trump and Putin had lunch and all, and the war still going on, man. It's easy to just discontinue this thing, right? Myra M. Balshaw would say, if my sons didn't want war, there would not be any. All right, the wife. All right, it says a time of war and a time of peace. So we just in a time of war, man. That's the season we in. All right. People say peace talk, then they go with a strike, man. Got on the forefront of the Epstein files and different things going down. On this side, that's a sideshow. All right, that's just a sideshow to what's going on, man. The world is at war, man. All right, we're in the Great Reset. We're in it. It is happening. You know. Let's just read this little article, man. I ain't got much, you know. I just wanted to tap in on this damn bunch of political theater. You know, they trying to save face, man. This is it says a Russian drone strike hit a bus carrying minors. These minors are kids, man. And Ukrainians, can't say that word, region on Sunday, killing at least 12 people. Ukrainian emergency services later reported the death toll had risen to 15 and one of the deadliest single attacks on energy workers since the start of the war. All right. The attack Sunday came a few hours after President Zelensky announced a new round of peace talks between Ukraine and Russia had been postponed. A spokesperson of DTEK, Ukraine's largest private energy firm, which employed the workers, told Fox News Digital that drones had targeted a bus as it traveled roughly 40 miles from the front line in the central and eastern Ukraine. The spokesperson also described the incident as a terrorist attack on civilian infrastructure. Now, a terror attack on civilian infrastructure. This strike was a targeted terrorist attack against civilians and another crime by Russia against critical infrastructure, the spokesperson added. All right? So, while the bus was transporting the miners after the end of their shift when it was hit by a Russian drone, the state emergency service Ukraine also confirmed at least 7 workers were injured and a fire sparked by the impact was later extinguished by emergency crews. The epicenter of one of the attacks was a company bus transporting miners from the Enterprise after a shift in the region, the company also said in a statement. Zelensky confirmed the strike last Sunday, calling it another deliberate attack on civilians. Now, America attacks civilians all the time, man. Right? America done been in Iraq and just all places, man, attacking women, kids, children, everything. All right? So, and what the hell America doing to Ukraine anyways, man? Let's get to that point. You know, it's just what the hell are they doing, man? Because this was the whatchamacallit. They expect the American side to be just as active, particularly when it comes to de-escalation measures. And this guy here is a freak, man. You know, faking peace talks so they could get the people to put their guard down so they could strike. You know, America tactics is getting sloppy, man. You know, I'm gonna say this: Russia whipping Ukraine ass, man. If it's even a goddamn war at this point, right? You won this long, is it really a position of power? Because Russia could stomp over Ukraine, man. It's prophetically written that Russia gonna stomp the whore. Oh, you know what they could do Ukraine, which was once a part of, you know, Russia. So, come on, man. They fighting over the territory. Russia could just overtake these people, man. That's why you look at things and be like, what the hell, man? Is this just a facade? You know, at this point, is it even happening, man? Another political theater, man. Another sideshow. All right? Another goddamn sideshow. Russia and the U.S. will now take place February 4th through 5th in Abu Dhabi after originally being expected for Sunday. Ukraine is ready for substantial discussion, and we are interested in ensuring that income. Now the miners got killed. What y'all gonna go talk about? You know? Hey, it's time to fight. There's a season for everything. And fighting, there is no more talking. All right, the gig is up. He need to keep it at home. This devil need to keep it at home. It's liking his desire as hell. All right. Hell is at the is moved for D. At that coming. Let's go. All right, and he up. So you know, say over this past week, Russia has used more than 908 attack drones, nearly 1,100 guided aerial bombs, and 2 missiles against Ukraine. And this is all like old weapons, man. They just, what they doing, they exercising on Ukraine, right? This is what they doing Ukraine, because Ukraine can't challenge Russia. Oh, what the hell? America can't challenge Russia, man. All right? And they know that. You know, the arsenal the Lord have equipped Russia with, he have allowed Russia to be guards into these other nations, man. To where America can't counter that, man. That's why they trying to use, you know, position themselves and get their nuclear silos on the border of Ukraine or whatever. And Russia ain't letting them overtake that, so they could position themselves to get their silos right there by Russia, man. To, you know, when this war kick off, to try to, you know, be close to them. They don't gotta shoot missiles. Russia ain't going for that shit, man. You can't get on that border. All right? It's been claimed already. You ain't getting right there, man. And even if you is right there, Russia on your ass, man. 300,000 men at the border. You can't cross, so you can't get in there. All right? It says we are recording Russian attempts to destroy logistics and connectivity between cities and communities. That's the point. All right? But, yeah, man. All right? Russia is a guard until them against America, man. This, you know, Russia a key player, you know, the Medes, the Lord put hooks in their jaws, man, and raise them back up, man. All right? So, that pretty much was the point. I just want to say, you know, again, there's a little sideshow going on for the most part, right? Blanche says Doge unable to investigate tips about Trump's involvement in the Epstein, you know, whatever. All right, you're gonna have just, you know, a couple little things surrounding that, while, you know, the real truth going on, right? Iran and you know, and Trump, America, you know, what they talks about, you know, if such and such happen, it's gonna be world war on the forefront. But at the end of the day, all right, the war gonna have to happen, and you know, there's gonna have to be a society of anarchy, man, take place, and they have to be an attempt to restore order, man, by way of the MOTB, all right, and a militarized state, man, in place. You know, this have to happen, you know, via the Bible, via biblical, prophetic, written, basically the will of the Most High, man. You know, so let it be so. You know, let talk, you know, talks cease, and let tension arise, man. That there may be, you know, a war, so judgment can ensue on the earth. So I don't want to write this out. It was out of fun. Next, I'm gonna say shalom.